In Washington Heights, you'll find birds. They're painted in the shutters of every other store. You'll see them in the shutters of vacant real estate, waiting for a new tenant. This little one waits for a mom and pop instead of a pharmacy chain or a bank. On the dentist's office and the ophthalmologist. The travel agents have them as well. But they're not just found in the shutters of stores, but in every nook, on tobacco shops, on la ferreteria, and even on the side of buildings. And the front of buildings. I even spotted them at my corner deli. These birds have merged with the fabric of the neighborhood. Then even some have started to look like them. But no one in the neighborhood seems to know why they're there.
No, no, no sé el significado.
No, actually, I think they're just decorative.
Even inside the stores with them.
No, para nada. Okay.
Oh, those! Oh, I love those. Look at like those murals.
Yes.
Of the birds and stuff like that. Yeah.
But the clues are there in plain sight. It's called the Audubon Project, spearheaded by Gittler Ant Gallery and the National Audubon Society. It uses public art to raise awareness on endangered birds by climate change. I stumbled upon two of the artists and asked them what they were painting.
It's Geyer Falcon, G-Y-R Falcon.
John James Audubon, an American naturalist and artist, who in 1838 published one of the most acclaimed rare books ever made, The Birds of America. The giant elephant folio contains drawings by Audubon of a species of birds in their actual size, which made it unique and helped him garner the subscriptions he needed. Through a period of 18 years, Audubon traveled through the western frontier, armed with a rifle and watercolors. He traveled far, even after publication, all the way to Fort Union, at the crossroads between Indian country and the unorganized territories. He traveled down the Mississippi, from Kentucky to Texas, meeting Sam Houston, Daniel Boone, all the while painting birds. The results were outstanding. His plates and their stories reading like a history of the American wilderness. But the path had been rough and shaky, and he lost it all for his dream. Poor and rejected in America, it was in Europe where he realized his American dream. And upon his return, success. With the aid of Joe Mason painting detailed vegetation backgrounds, he assembled 435 birds, some of which are gone forever from the earth, like the Carolina parakeet, and the passenger pigeon, which once roamed the plains in the thousands. The loss of this bird has been credited for a altering habitat that encouraged the spread of deer mice, the main carrier of Lyme disease. The birds of America need us. At the Trinity Church Cemetery and Mausoleum, Audubon is buried, not far from where he lived, here in the Heights. His grave is finely engraved with birds and other natural wildlife. An aristocrat immigrant become frontiersman and artist, he echoed other American outdoorsmen of artistic sensibility to come, like Teddy Roosevelt and Ernest Hemingway. Audubon's birds are part of Washington Heights, and you know where to find them. There are many things here named after Audubon, the most beautiful of which is Audubon's Terrace. It houses cultural institutions like the Hispanic Society of America, the American Academy of Arts and Letters, and Boricua College. On its frieze are engraved the names of navigators and explorers of the New World, like John Davis, John Cabot, and Bartolomeo Diaz. Nowhere in America, from the Yukon to Patagonia, you'll find a place like this, where all the names that made the history of the New World and beyond stand together, regardless of nationality or creed. Exploring nature, like Humboldt, finding routes of navigation, like the Gama and Magellan, delivering the first clash between civilizations, like Columbus and Marco Polo. I come back to their diaries, to their actions, as irreversible moments of history, and I wonder, not sure if with more fear or excitement, at the impact one name can actually have. Some lives are meant to open doors. In the main courtyard, the prototype of all Spanish conquistadors, El Cid. The names of Pizarro, De Soto, Cabeza de Vaca were etched in the shadow of his legend. To his right, my favorite archetypal hero, Don Quixote de la Mancha. To his left, a cloaked poet. The history of the New World is more than a bas-relief. Its depths are complex and compelling, and they demand our understanding more than our judgment, which can only be got by study. And there are many books waiting. I first came here on a cool November afternoon a few years ago, and there was no one else. I have since found my compass and charted my course. I now come here often, and this building reminds me that to construct a better future, one first has to build a good past. Let's use our talents wisely. We have all we need. There are many great names besides Audubon who live in the Heights. Thurgood Marshall, W.E.B. Du Bois, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Joel Lewis, Jackie Robinson, many others. But the most celebrated is the one the neighborhood is named after, George Washington. 72 days after the birth of this nation, Washington established his army headquarters here at Morris Mansion. 2 days later was the Battle of Harlem Heights. It was Washington's first victory in the Revolutionary War, and years later, when he was president, he returned to host his first cabinet dinner here at the mansion where he had won for the first time. It is now called the Morris Umel Mansion in honor of Eliza Umel, perhaps the first successful woman entrepreneur in the history of this country, and who lived here for 55 years. The house now remembers General Washington's brief stay, and you can look onto the unspoiled 18th century landscape outside from the same window where he signed army dispatches and wrote letters, seeing what he saw. The house, built in 1765, it's the oldest one in Manhattan. A fitting place to have survived. I wonder if this octagon room is where Washington and his cabinet retired to talk after that first dinner, with Jefferson, Adams, Hamilton, and Madison, the taste of plum tarts and asparagus ragout lingering in their mouths. They spoke about the future of the new nation and the direction it would take over time. But they did good. Framed a constitution, establishing a sound foundation so the nation could move forward. Today, in the midst of a generation with their heads cast down towards a screen, that foundation marches on undaunted. Coming from a culture where privilege was inherited, not earned, I've seen the greatness of a creed where your only inheritance is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, through self-reliance. I've followed, energized, and claimed the spirit of '76, as all immigrants should. There's more historic places around Washington Heights. 20 blocks down is the Hamilton Grange National Memorial, where Alexander Hamilton lived until he was cut down in a tragic duel with Aaron Burr. But he's not the only great American cut down by tragedy in these parts. A few blocks from Morris Umel Mansion, you'll find the former Audubon Hall, where Malcolm X was shot.
Roll. Chief, could you describe what happened here today?
At about 3:15 p.m. This afternoon, there were about 400 persons present in the ballroom here, representing an organization known as the Afro-American Unity Organization, headed up by Malcolm X. And Malcolm was addressing the audience from the speaker's platform when suddenly, apparently, two men approached the speaker's rostrum and discharged shots at him from apparently very close range.
Ain't no way for me to love you if you want. Let me. It ain't no way for me to give you all you need. If you won't let me give all of me.
The struggle continues for a future with dignity. If New York is a sampler of America, Washington Heights is a sampler of both. It's Washington's bridge. His victory became a beacon for all cultures and all religions. It sheltered German Jews fleeing the Nazis. It gave America Stan Lee, Alan Greenspan, Henry Kissinger, and the boys of summer, Vin Scully.
A black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South for breaking a record of an all...
It is the highest point in the island of Manhattan. You'll find the famous Russian grocery, Moscow on the Hudson, serving sweet treats from Mother Russia. Even from my country, Ecuador's own UPS, Delgado Travel, is here. Chinese restaurants where Christmas hasn't ended, or Jamaican restaurants where the food.
So I have wonderful oxtail made with a lot of love. Enjoy, guys, and I hope you guys love it.
Thank you, Stevie.
There are yet many things to see. Fire escapes that look like guillotines. Creepy art. Old West miniatures out of popsicle sticks. The artist teaches a class nearby.
Every Friday, 109 West, 146th Street, between 997.
What's your name, sir?
Luis Perez.
But there are other special neighbors.
I'm Sugar. I'm from 156th Street, M7 Broadway. I've been around here a decade.
A decade?
A decade.
How long have you been in the neighborhood, Joy?
45. 45 years.
45 years.
Been here longer than me.
I said a decade.
Well, tell us how it was 45 years ago. Tell us about Washington Heights 45 years ago.
45 years ago, it's the same like it is now. Terrible, but it's better now.
For sure. What's your name?
Joyce.
I like the people in the area. You know, they're really friendly and stuff like that. It's more like a family thing instead of like friends and stuff like that. And of course, all the hot guys and, you know, all the beautiful sights and all the...
Beautiful sights, like a bookstore.
I believe the creator assigned me this community because there was no bookstore when I actually started this venture back in January of 2000. There was not a bookstore in this community whatsoever. Knowledge is key.
It is. At the Old United Palace Theater, Washington Heights gives me a parting gift. Music. The kind that I like. Beach House. The days end. The future comes too quickly. I wonder about the paths I've taken and the ones I've shunned. But we do what we must. I hope you pardon all my errors of form. I live a good, simple life. I design, I write. I don't lust for excess, so I can't make expensive movies. But there are stories that should be told and remembered. Our memory, though, is still a mystery. What we retain from the books we've read, the places we've been, the people we meet. so I wanted to keep this record. To recall my life and times in Washington Heights.